Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have two experts in the field to talk about how India can actually revolutionize green energy and how is it that green energy can actually play a big role in taking us to the top 3 economies in the world. So, Sullaja, let me start with you. What's the broad vision? When you talk about green energy, there's so much innovation happening right now. Everything from green energy to green hydrogen to biofuels. There's so much research which is getting backed as to how to create fossil fuels into greener forms and how to make that energy transition, if you will. Where do you think, what kind of direction are we headed in? And are we headed in the right direction to begin with for, say, the next 5 years?
Well, first of all, very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And a good afternoon to all of you. It's always difficult to do a post-lunch session. But let me say that this is a topic close to my heart. So hopefully, we'll have a wonderful chat. First, let's talk about why green energy is important for India. I think, as we all know, we're looking at the fast track to top 3. And I'm one of the believers that India is entering into a wonderful era where we can really aim to be one of the top 3 economies in the world. Be a global superpower, whether it's in terms of economic superpower, in terms of being a large market, being in terms of thought leaders, and really, lead the world both in terms of economically as well as spiritually. So I'm a believer in the journey of Viksit Bharat, and I think we are on the cusp of something wonderful. Now, if we really want to lead this, I think future is green. And the world is going green. Everyone's adopting very aggressive SDG goals. It is required for our planet. We have seen what kind of havoc climate change is causing, whether it's the tsunamis or the flash floods or health issues people are facing. And I think it's very important that we lead the world also in this green transition. Then we will be a true leader. And I think India is making the right moves. Our policies are very much focused on this green transition. We have a net zero by 2070 as a mission for the nation. We're leading this also in the area of transportation. So I believe that yes, we're making the right moves. We are headed in the right direction. And I also believe that it's very important to adopt this if we truly want to be a global leader.
Shobit, want you to come in here and, when you talk about strategic leadership and the kind of role that India can play into the green energy revolution, if I can call it that, what strategies should India actually adopt to try and make the transition quicker, which is then going to sort of help India capitalize and climb up the ladder to the top 3 economies of the world, sooner than later?
So I think from the perspective that what are the major steps, I would just bullet it out in terms of major important steps that we need to take. Number one is that if you have to fast track this entire transition to green, manufacturing of components which are needed, which we were dependent on imports, and with this Make in India initiative, we are on the right move. So from the perspective that whatever we need from renewable supply side, end to end, it's not only just, we talk about assembly, but, a fully backward integrated kind of manufacturing setup would be a very, very important role, which already we have initiated. And I think in next 3 to 4 years, we will see that it will take up the right shape. And not only we will consume internally, but also the kind of setup that we will have, we will be able to export, which is again going to be a boost to the economy. As we all know that globally, a lot of countries are resistant for Chinese imports these days. So I think India becomes another big market. So this is going to be very, very important. The other important factor is that if we have to accelerate this growth, we see that we have a massive target of 500 gigawatt. We have still 300 gigawatt to go. We would require skilled workforce, which is kind of missing right now, especially for this energy transition, which I believe that we will have to work upon, which many governments and private institutes are working on training the manpower for, especially on the renewable side. which will also, of course, solve the employment problem as well in a big way. And also, I am also looking at from the perspective that not only just solve the problem for renewable energy in India, but also from, we should become, an exporter, service exporter to many other countries. Especially you talk about in Europe after the Russia crisis, if you see that the demand for renewable energy has picked up significantly. And their targets, which they have not even achieved in last more than a decade, they want to achieve that in 1 year, for which obviously you need manpower. So that is another way that this can be taken up in the right direction, and we would see that we can definitely accelerate this growth.
Sullaja, you are at the helm of Kinetic Green Energy, right? You guys are into EVs. Tell me all about the technology and the kind of innovations that you at Kinetic Green are working on to help make this transition quicker and faster.
Well, very excited about what we are doing. For all of you who don't know, Kinetic Green is the electric vehicle arm of Kinetic Group. You all know Kinetic for Kinetic Luna, Kinetic Honda, and many other products that we made over the years.
Who doesn't know Kinetic Honda? Yeah.
So Kinetic Green is one of the pioneering players in the India's electric vehicles space. Today, of course, it's very fashionable to be an EV company, but we were very, in 2012 is when I started this company. We launched our vehicles in 2015. It was that time not so fashionable. There was no market, there was no policy, there was no supply chain, there was no demand. There was just a passion and belief in a green future. And of course, the rest is history now. Clearly, we are on the right path. And we are embracing a wonderful trend, which is green. So I think first let me answer you by saying that why is electric vehicle technology important in this green transition? And then what we are doing towards it. As we all know, vehicular emissions contribute almost 25 to 30% of the pollution in the cities. That means when we are moving on our streets, we are inhaling the bad air, the emission, the carbon dioxide, and the other greenhouse gases, and that's affecting health of our citizens. So along with producing green energy, it is equally important that we clean the air in our cities. And we owe this to our future generations, that we leave a planet which is healthy and which is clean. If we move to electric vehicles, they produce zero emission. There are zero greenhouse emissions, and there is also zero noise. So we can reduce the noise and air or pollution greatly by adopting electric vehicles. It's like if you buy an electric car, it's like you're planting 100 trees, So that's the kind of impact it can have on the environment in our cities. So I think it's one of the very important elements of a green future is to have green transport. And of course, the world is now embracing this technology. A while ago, there was a question whether it will be if electric vehicles and why electric vehicles. Now it's only about when electric vehicles and how electric vehicles. So it's a massive disruption, transformation we are going through, which auto industry has not seen for decades. And along with that, we are creating this wonderful future now. So I think it's very important to embrace this. I want to say one more thing, which is that electric technology is becoming so consumer friendly in terms of cost, manufacturing cost, running cost. Also the way you use electric vehicles, it's like a tablet on wheels. Younger consumers find it much easier, much more intuitive. So there is no doubt that electric vehicles are going to be more and more popular. India today is the world's third largest automobile market. After US and China, we are the third largest automobile market. That means, it's a very important and large industry. So we are surely going to be consumers of EVs because people are going to want EVs. It's early days, but the trend is coming in a big way. But it's also important that India not only is leading in consumption of EVs, but that India also leads in manufacturing of EVs. So we don't just become a consumer, but we also become a leader in EV technology, in EV manufacturing, in EV export. And that's what's important. So I think that's what we are trying to do, is to truly work on two areas. One is Make in India. That means we are not only trying to sell EVs, but we are trying to design, manufacture, engineer EVs and use a fully localized supply chain. Work to create this technological base for our country, to create good quality EVs, which can sell here, but also can be exported to Asia, South America, Africa and other parts of the world. And the second thing which is very exciting for me is, to whom are we promoting this technology? India is a pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is much larger. We're a developing nation. So in India, it's not about electric cars that is going to make a big difference. It is not about somebody selling 10,000, 15,000, buying 10,000, 15,000 cars. It is about what they call the common man, the middle class, the lower middle class, who are using two-wheelers and three-wheelers and buses for their transport. 85% of Indian transport sector is made up of these products, two-wheelers, three-wheelers and buses. So if we can make them electric faster, then we can truly reduce pollution in our cities, and we can also reduce transport costs for our people. So that's what we are focusing on, which is the two-wheelers and three-wheeler space. And we want to democratize e-mobility. We want to bring it to mainstream and make it affordable and accessible, not just for the classes, but for the masses. So in not just metros, but B, C towns, rural areas, and really promote the technology and its benefits to public at large. So these are the two things that I'm very passionate about. One is Make in India, and India to be a leader in EV technology. And second is to democratize it and take it to the masses across rural and urban areas, and not just the classes.
When you talk about urban areas and people like us from Mumbai and Delhi cities, we've already seen that transition happen, and so many more EVs in the last 2 years on the roads. But like you said, the bottom of the pyramid, which is where you are targeting and which is where you want to condition their minds to make that transition from ICE engines to EVs now. How critical is government support over here? And what kind of policies do you think that the government can bring about to try and bridge that gap where EVs can actually reach the grassroots?
So let me say that the government of India has been visionary and supportive in the green transition. And I think that has helped us to adopt the new technology already in a very powerful way. From just about less than 1% EVs about 5 years ago, we are now at almost 10% EVs. In segments like three-wheelers, electric vehicles are selling more. I mean, we have exceeded the ICE deployment. Electric scooters are becoming very, very popular, and I think that in the next 3 to 5 years, we should be at almost 80 to 100% electric in scooter space. I don't see why anybody should buy a non-electric scooter. In a couple of years from now, you will have excellent models, good price, good range, good features, good comfort, good convenience. So why would you want to spend on fuel when you don't have to spend on fuel? So I think in these areas like three-wheelers, two-wheelers, buses also, we are leading, we are doing a good job, because the government has supported. In a disruptive technology like this, you do need government support in the initial years, because you don't have scale, so cost is higher. You need to kind of create taxation which is in favor of this technology, so it becomes more affordable. You need to enable R&D. You need to ensure that you're protecting the Make in India. And I think government has done that. We have 5% GST on EVs vis-a-vis 28% on ICE. We have incentive policies where customers get benefits if they buy EVs. And government has been very, very proactive. To me, the next 5 years are now going to be about scale and charging infrastructure. We have done the basic work. EVs have come in. People are buying. People are making. I think now we have to create a wonderful infrastructure for charging an ecosystem of EVs. And we have to attain scale so that EV becomes mainstream. And then I think there's no looking back.
Wow. Shobit, coming here, when it comes to EVs, like Sullaja's vision is that it should be affordable, it should reach the grassroots and the bottom of the pyramid. And once that conversion happens, there will be a faster transition. And of course, it's going to be more broad-based. But what are the challenges when it comes to investment, to funding? Because like she said, that, there is a lot of support because it's new technology, there's constant innovation, and there's constant improvisation, which happens pretty much almost on a daily basis.
So on the EV front, we ourselves are into, we have a small vertical which, does the infrastructure for EV charging where, it's on a pay-per-use model. The only challenge, what we have been seeing in this particular sector is that it's kind of like, a real estate business, that if you have the right spots, you will be able to get the chargings that is required basically to survive, or maybe, at least make a business sense on this. On the other side, like for the public transport on the electricity side, on the electric charging side, if you see that, you'll not find that OEMs trying to spend on the charging station, or, trying to spend. I think it's the government initiative which is to be taken up, wherein it should become a mandate to have one charger at every maybe 50 to 100 meters on the road, so that wherever there are doubts in the minds of people that why not to turn electric, is just the range anxiety, which I think most of the people, which is almost like kind of solved in two-wheelers, and also from the commercial vehicles. Now you will see that the charging technology also, going up to the extent that in a city like Surat, we have tied up with corporation, where we have installed like more than 100 chargers at the locations which have been given by the corporation. And we are able to see that, at certain good locations, where because of which the penetration of EVs in those concentrated pockets have picked up significantly. And each stations are able to generate, significant revenues, where we are able to see that even at a fast charging, which can charge at a, interval of, a single charge at 45 minutes from 0 to, full charge. We are able to, generate massive revenues, where the paybacks are coming even less than, 3 years for a charging station. So the only thing which I feel that could accelerate this particular program is, I think government can play only. We don't need subsidies at this point of time, because the technology has evolved, and it is like, so scalable and affordable. But the only thing is, we need to have the right, if government can, tie up with, people who want to invest into charging infrastructure, provide them the right space. Because the biggest challenge is to get the right space where, you can park the cars, where you can charge the car, where it is safe. So that is the only support I feel, if they can, work with corporates and, the companies who are willing to invest. I think that can solve a much, much bigger problem, and this could, accelerate in a much faster way, which is already, we don't need to, explain now with the numbers, but it can still, ramp up in a big way.
Sullaja, what is the
hurdle? Can I add something here to what he's saying? So I'm very happy to share. In fact, I'm in Delhi. I came this morning, and we had a meeting at the Ministry of Heavy Industries. And I'm very happy to share with all of you that I chair FICCI's Electric Vehicle National Task Force, and we have partnered with McKinsey, who have now created a complete blueprint of the top 40 cities where EVs are most likely to be, let's say, most popular, and 20 big highways around those cities. And we are doing, along with MHI and each state, there is a nodal cell being created, creating a very deep blueprint of these 40 cities and the highways around it, where a complete grid of charging infrastructure is being visualized, home charging, public charging, and highway charging. And the kind of work that's happening, I'm very bullish that in the next 3 to 4 years, we will have a wonderful charging infrastructure that will come up in our country. And I think, that's something which really will take us to the next stage of EVs.
Okay, here's to a more greener and cleaner India, and climbing up the ladders and fast tracking to top 3, and it can't be done without the auto industry. Thank you, both of you, so much for sharing this vision with us. Thank you, Sullaja.
Time flew by so quickly, but
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.